Sources say the Tennessee Titans are signing Jaguar star receiver Calvin Ridley. Listen to this massive deal. 4 years, $92 million for Calvin Ridley. $50 million fully guaranteed in this deal, negotiated by David Mulugheta and Reza Azam of Athletes First. Calvin Ridley turns 30 this season. 30, and he gets a massive, massive deal from the Titans. Everyone has been assuming, I think this whole time, that it was going to be the Jaguars, it is going to be the Patriots. No, it is the Tennessee Titans quietly lurking, working, and now landing a top free agent receiver. A massive, massive move for the Titans.
Ian Rappaport, if you're just tuning in, the news we mentioned earlier this hour, Calvin Ridley, now a Tennessee Titan. Pats, according to Albert Breer, had the second best offer. Although, again, that's before you factor in taxes and everything else.
He also said he heard yesterday that was their offer, so it may have changed.
Good point. He said, we'll see where the final numbers come out, but at $23 million per year, this shapes up to an incredibly strong deal. I'd heard yesterday the Patriots were right around 22, and the Jags were just shy of 20.
No, it is the Tennessee Titans.
So, what's more valuable, $20 million in Florida or $22 in New England? Plus that $22, how much of it was tied to incentives? I'd like to know all that.
Yes. Those numbers don't mean as much to me as what the guaranteed money is.
Fine. Either way, he got 23 from Tennessee, which, as Burt points out, also has no state income tax. I didn't know that. So Tennessee, like Florida, like Texas, no income tax. He chooses the Titans. And already I'm seeing, oh, good, the Patriots didn't overpay. Great. Let's thump our chest about not getting a player.
Way to save, guys. Awesome.
No, it's like, at least I kind of half got it. I got it when the Patriots were winning 6 Super Bowls. It's like, oh, yeah, look at these dumb teams.
Way to read the market.
You won 4 games last year. 4. Why don't you try overpaying for a player as opposed to not getting anyone? Maybe for the 3rd year in a row in free agency. Right now, you've got nobody. And, Mego, I agree with what you said off the air. Right? It's $50 million guaranteed at signing. It's the second most out of any wide receiver of all time, best I can tell.
That's not the way to look at it,
Okay, but just hang on. Just so everybody knows. $52 million to Tyreek Hill. $50 million guaranteed to Calvin Ridley. That's a massive deal. It's more than Stephon Diggs at 48, DJ Moore at 42, Deebo Samuel at 41, Chris Godwin at 40. All those deals have been signed fairly recently. I think all of them actually were 2022. I got to double-check Deebo. What were you telling me off the air? What's your take on this?
Okay, so I know right now people are like furiously Googling, okay, where does $50 million line up against these other receivers in the league? And they're immediately seeing Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown and Diggs and going, oh my God, how does Ridley get that money? Well, don't forget, first of all, that the cap went up almost 14% this year. So, of course, it's going to be a significant number for the number one wide receiver who's left in free agency. You always knew you were going to overpay, and it's going to be a lot more in that guaranteed money than even 2 years ago because the cap went up so much.
Right.
Like, it's not so much about that raw number compared to what it was 2 years ago. It's about what it is compared to the overall market. And by the way, more importantly to me, you just gave Mike Onwenu, who I think is a very talented player, but maybe not completely proven at being a tackle because he's a natural guard. You just gave him $38 million guaranteed. So you gave him $38 million. Mike Onwenu is an important player. I'm not saying this to discount Mike Onwenu, but you needed Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
Like, you really needed this receiver, so you can pony up $38 million for Mike Onwenu. I think you can do 50 guaranteed.
Okay. I don't think they have to choose. I think they could pay them both. So let me get that out of the way quickly. But let's say the Patriots had to choose. Okay? I reject that, but let's say that's the way Kraft is looking at it. He's not going to spend a bunch more than one or the other. Who should they have paid? $38 million? Is that the number? 38?
38 guaranteed for
to
Mike
Onwenu, or $50 million to Ridley?
If I had to choose one, I would have gone with Ridley.
Okay. Arkan?
Ridley, definitely.
Ridley. And it's like, oh, he's overpaid. They would be stupid to give him that. Well, the Patriots and the Titans and the Jaguars were all in roughly the same ballpark.
You know who else is overpaid? Onwenu, because you could have paid for him last year and gotten him way cheaper.
Just listen. All the teams are in the same ballpark. So, like, what were the Patriots offering? The Patriots were right there, but Jacksonville outbid them, but the Patriots were smart. Just go an extra mile. Go an extra mile to get the player. So that's what bothers me. That's what's annoying. And I would rather have given the money to Calvin Ridley than a guard
I'm just
in
saying,
Mike Onwenu.
Don't sit there and Google it and see Tyreek Hill and make yourself feel better with a little security blanket, because there's a lot more context around it that tells you could have gotten this deal.
Yeah.
And I bet when we get the numbers that come out, you were close and you didn't push it over the top.
Yeah, fine. Google it. We all knew you had to overpay him. We all knew that. We all said he's a free agent. You have to overpay. The idea was to overpay and actually land a player. And so I think there's still a pathway to make it a successful offseason. But you better be in on Hollywood Brown. Mego hates Hollywood Brown.
I don't hate him.
You don't?
He just wasn't my choice. You want me to rip him because I wanted Calvin Ridley.
I want you to rip the Patriots.
And you made me pick between the two because that's your favorite exercise to do is to say pick one. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Calvin or Marquise? Pick one, Mego.
Yeah, I didn't ask you to pick one.
Sophie's choice.
I didn't ask you to pick one. I said, do you like Hollywood Brown? Yes or no? You said no. I didn't ask you to pick.
I said he was my second favorite. Mike Williams is third.
But you also said you don't want the Patriots to sign him.
Not when they could have had Calvin Ridley.
Okay, now they can't. Have you changed your stance earlier in the show? You said you're going to rip the Patriots.
I am not enthused about Marquise Brown being
Thank
your
you.
number one wide receiver. I will say that much. I don't hate him.
Thank you.
I don't hate him like he hated the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
You hate the signing.
I may be being dramatic here, but this feels like when A-Rod signed with the Yankees. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is honestly what that feels like. I know I'm being dramatic here, but that does. I feel that same sort of pit in my stomach that I felt that day.
Arcan's like, I don't want to be dramatic, but
when that whole thing happened.
I don't want to be dramatic, but my life is over.
It seemed like your team was right there, ready to do it. It was just, closing the deal, and then all of a sudden some team comes freaking out of nowhere and steals them away from you. It's similar. It feels similar to me.
I don't want to be dramatic, but I don't want to live anymore after this signing. Couple of tweets rolling in real quick before we get to your phone calls. I read you the Burt Breer tweet. Here you go. Bartell on Twitter, at Jones WEEI. They way overpaid. Good on the Patriots for not wasting $50 million guaranteed.
Yeah, way to go, guys. Awesome.
Bravo. Good job. Build another lighthouse. Build a giant scoreboard. Good for you. Save that $50 million. Save it for a rainy day. You never know.
Spend it on Josh Uche and Armand Watts and the rest of the team that won 4 games last year.
Good for you.
No,
good for you, Robert. Pocket that money. Good for you. Don't spend it on your football team. Don't do that. Pocket that money. It'd be stupid to spend on players. I agree. 100%. By
the way, Meg's-Planning is canceled. It's canceled. You get to talk about Marquise Brown now.
I don't want to be dramatic, but we're canceling Meg's-Planning. Let's get to some phone calls here. Lewis is in Rhode Island. Go ahead, Lewis.
How you doing, guys? I'm
just
going to go over. Yes, you guys, you already talked about the income tax and it sounds like the tax was big. If he was still going back and forth and playing the game about who's going to give the most money, those type of things as well. $50 million, yeah, this day and age it's a lot. But to me, I don't see Calvin Ridley as a $23 million receiver that was on and off last year with Jacksonville.
He's probably not.
One game. No.
Okay, he's probably not. I'll grant you that. He would be overpaid. What's wrong with you don't have anybody. You don't have any talent. There's no one on the team. No one's good. Josina Anderson, the Patriots will mainly turn their attention to the draft to address wide receiver, I'm told. They've moved on.
Swell.
That's what they're moving on to. They're not even looking at your guy.
Well, yes, I think she means as it relates to wide receivers. I don't know if that means completely in free agency.
Are you happy?
No.
Are you happy, guys? You're saving money. You didn't overpay Calvin Ridley.
Okay, but so, people who say you'd be overpaying, yes, you would be overpaying. No one's arguing with you. So what? So what?
So you get to watch your owner save money and have a crappy wide receiver room.
Right. Good. So who's your receiver now? Somebody you draft? Who's your receiver? Yeah. Everybody who didn't want to. If you didn't want to overpay for Calvin Ridley, let me hear you. 617-779-793. What's the solution? They're out on free agent wide receivers.
If you're celebrating that you're not giving $50 million guaranteed, please call in.
Yeah, so don't tell me Hollywood Brown. And don't tell me all these other guys. Go ahead. Who's your receiver? Is it Marvin Harrison? What's your plan? How are you fixing it? They're moving on in free agency, according to Josina Anderson. They're not getting Calvin Ridley.
That really sucks, by the way, because you just showed that you're very much in the market for a wide receiver. And you were willing to spend $22 million.
Great point.
So now you're pivoting to what? Nothing?
Yep.
Just going into the draft and hoping you get it there?
Yep.
What about a trade? What about these other possibilities and avenues that we were talking about yesterday? You're just going to abandon those now?
I was just going to say the exact same thing. So when she says they've moved to the draft, does that mean they're out on T. Higgins?
They're not going to try to trade? Probably because they don't want to part with that draft capital.
Does that mean they're out on Ayuk? Does that mean they're out on Justin Jefferson? Or, we floated Diggs' name a long time ago. I don't know how realistic that is anymore. Are they out on trades
Doesn't matter. You're out.
Is that what that means? Rob's in Western Mass. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, guys. Hey, I'm actually very disappointed that the trade did not go through.
Signing.
And that the Patriots are to the bottom of that list.
Signing, yep.
But what I want to say is Chicago traded Darnell Moore to Atlanta.
Darnell Mooney. Did you want Darnell Mooney? He signed in Atlanta. Like, I don't get sitting out free agency. And to Arcan's point, they were clearly willing to spend on a receiver. So now they're just out. They were all like Calvin Ridley. So apparently the Patriots disagree with you, by the way. They were interested to a degree on Calvin Ridley. So everybody was like, he sucks. You can't overpay for him. No. They were in. They were close. They were willing to pay him $22 million a year, according to Burt Breer. Okay? And that's as of yesterday. Arcan makes a good point. Maybe they upped their offer. So they were willing to give him $22 million a year. And Tennessee gave him 23. So the Patriots said, we can't go to 24. You'd go to 22, but you can't go to 24 over a player they liked. Whether you like him, texters and callers, they liked him. They offered him $22 million a year, and they couldn't give him an extra $2 million, $3 million a year, an extra $5 million guaranteed. You couldn't do that for a player you liked.
What if he asked for daycare?
That blows. Yeah, they're like, we can't. We don't have it.
Like, actually, that personally offends us.
What's your weight room look like? They're like, we're out. Jeff's in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Been better.
So, what's your thoughts on like trading our first round for like Justin Jefferson? I know the Vikings are desperate for a quarterback, and then going out and getting Fields.
So we brought up the Justin Jefferson idea earlier.
You're trading number 3 for Justin Jefferson.
Is that what he said?
He said your first round.
I'm sorry. I just heard Justin Jefferson. He said number 3. Wouldn't give up number 3 for Justin Jefferson. I would not.
Wait, you worked hard to be in that number 3 spot. You lost a lot of games.
I'd rather have the quarterback at number 3. Like, let me illustrate something for you.
Okay.
If you don't have the quarterback, right now, who's your quarterback? Brissett?
Is it that drawing where it starts out as a nice horse and then it becomes a goofy-looking horse?
No, I saw you retweet Hurley with that. I didn't really get that. That's
I like
that's
that.
a thing?
It's my favorite meme.
So, when it comes to the Patriots, like, are you afraid of Justin Jefferson playing in Minnesota with Sam Darnold?
No.
Okay, me neither. So if you don't, that's a way to illustrate if you don't have the quarterback, it doesn't really matter if you have Justin Jefferson. Like, I don't care if the Vikings don't have a quarterback. Now that Cousins is gone. Like, they stunk last year without Cousins. They were already so-so with Cousins. They stunk last year without Cousins, okay, with Nick Mullins and everybody else they had at quarterback. And now they're going to go with Sam Darnold, and you're not afraid of him. So would you be afraid of Justin Jefferson with Jacoby Brissett? I would not. So that's a way to illustrate I'd rather have the number 3 pick.
Jones, did you hear?
What?
Tennessee doesn't have income tax.
I did hear that. I've seen Burt Burr say that.
So it's the tax's fault.
Well, no, that's still the Crafts cheaping out. That's the Crafts playing games. And so I can't wait. Did the Patriots actually have the best offer? Or did they offer more money? Or is he stupid for going to Tennessee? Who else? Let's ask this. Where would you rather play? Who would you rather play with? Will Levis and Mason Rudolph? Or mystery quarterback at number 3 and Jacoby Brissett?
Who pays me more?
Thank you. That's the right answer. Like, Calvin Ridley doesn't know who they're drafting at 3. They may not draft a quarterback at number 3. He has no idea. I'll take the biggest offer. I'm not gonna sweat it. I'm not gonna think about it. The Titans stink. The Patriots stink. I'll save some money on the income tax. I'll get more guaranteed money, according to Burt. I'm gonna get more money per year at least. So, barring any change in reporting, I'll take the known and I'll take the money. And I'm not surprised Calvin Ridley took the money. This is something I said most free agents do. Number 1. But especially when you're 30 and you've been suspended and you lost out on a year of wages and this is your last chance to get paid, I'm not surprised he took the money. I don't blame him for taking the money. I don't blame the state of Massachusetts, okay? I don't blame the Patriots their lack of daycare in their weight room and their facilities and everything else.
The school districts, the taxes are too high.
I blame Robert. You said Wolf earlier. Have you changed or are you still Wolf?
I mean, I feel like Wolf is the one who's executing the trade.
I
mean, the offers that are being put out there.
I don't. You still think it's Wolf? You used to think it was Belichick. Now you think it's Wolf? You don't think it's Robert?
Yeah, because Belichick was functioning as the GM as far as I know. Wolf is functioning as the GM. I don't think it's Robin Glazer.
I don't think Robert Kraft is like, hey, you can only spend $22 million on Calvin Ridley. I don't think it's that specific.
But here's the thing,
I don't think
Jones.
it's that specific.
Yeah, is it possible that Wolf gets to a point where he goes, if I offer like 25, Robert's going to fire me right now? Yeah, of course I think that's possible.
Also, like, if they spend to the cap in other ways, Robert's going to not like that they put that much to a wide receiver. That's really what it comes down to, because if they're spending to the cap, if they spend the remaining 55, whatever
I don't care about the cap.
$1
You have to write $50 million guaranteed right now. Or, I say right now. You're going to have to pay that out in the next 2 years. Robert may not want to do that.
I mean, maybe not, but I'm just saying, like, it seems more like it's allocation question.
Yeah,
and is Kraft the one saying you can only allocate so much to a wide receiver?
If I had to guess, the $22 million is bullcrap, and I bet they weren't offering $50 million guaranteed. If I had to guess, So Robert said, I'll give him $45 million guaranteed. I won't give him 50, something like that. And yes, there's a hard line in the sand, and there's nothing Elliott Wolf can do. He's not the boss. He has no track record. Maybe, Bill, I would give you. I'm not giving you Wolf.
Incentives.
Henry is in Florida. Go ahead, Henry.
Hey, guys. This is so typical of the Patriots. You know, I don't even believe that they were in on Ridley because we have the most cap space, the most money to spend, and I feel like year after year.
Henry, aren't you in Florida?
Big names. I am in Florida, but I'm from Boston.
Okay.
Okay, but so you're saying you think it was just a fake offer? They just wanted to look like they were doing something?
Well, they're always in on everyone, aren't they?
Okay, well, this is what we talked about earlier.
It's like, nice one.
No, right, exactly. Get me Robert Kraft. What a deal.
You played it like a fiddle. If you zig, they zag.
We hate each other's guts, but get him on the... damn it, do I respect him? So, I don't want to go that far, but if I'm saying the Patriots or the Red Sox would do something like that.
Pretend like they're in on it, knowing that they're going to get outbid.
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit like Yamamoto.
I mean, look, the Red Sox would do something like that. Here's what I actually think happened.
Nice outing today at spring training.
I actually think people running the organization don't know what they're doing. And so they're just blindly negotiating.
So then you do blame Wolf.
No. And so when it gets out there and they say, oh, crap, Tennessee's in, we're hearing from his agent, Tennessee's in. Oh, God, Robert, we got to up the offer. Robert says no. Like, I think they were in to a degree. I believe they were in to a degree. And I blame Robert Kraft for not going the extra mile. I don't think it was just let's strategically be in on some money here. Let's make him an offer, but let's make sure we're second.
You know, you were kind of right on the prediction you had of like after 4 o'clock, is it going to come out that's somebody's in on someone and it was quiet. Nobody knew about it. It just wasn't the Patriots. It was the Titans.
It was not the Patriots. Although I still think the Patriots can salvage this. As much as I wanted Ridley.
They're not going for wide receivers. Okay. Justina Anderson tweeted that.
That's what she said. That doesn't mean they're out. Has Hollywood Brown signed?
Did she just get on the phone with somebody and they're like, we're devastated. We're done with wide receivers.
I don't know. Let's litigate Josina Anderson's reporting history. I don't know.
I don't even want to look at wide receivers anymore.
I don't see anybody else reporting that. So,
Jones is looking on the bright side. I want to hear
I don't know.
They can salvage this.
All the reporters told us it was Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe she's wrong. Call me crazy. Until Hollywood Brown signs, there's still a way that they can have a successful offseason. But I don't like that they cheaped out. They cheaped out on Ridley. They cheaped out. You can overpay a player but still cheap out, right? Like, they could be offering more than he's worth but still cheap out because someone was willing to give him more. If you wanted him, you had to go the extra mile. They wouldn't do that.
Suck tax was too high.
So if Hollywood Brown signs with the Patriots, Mego's going to freak out. And if Hollywood Brown signs anywhere else, Jones is going to freak out.
Yeah.
Either way, there's a freak out.
Pretty much.
I like it.
I won't freak out. I just will not be enthusiastic.
You said you were going to.
You said you were going to freak out.
You said you were going to.
Just like you said split up the Jays.
I didn't say that in real life.
You said you were, but the Patriots won, you did say in real life.
It was a joke.
The Patriots won, you said in real life.
I don't even remember. I've had so much caffeine today.
You also said Elliott Wolf 3 times in the segment, which means...
Woof, 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 woof.
I thought you've been working on your wolf.
Elliott, woofy, woof. I know, woof, 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 woof.
It's a show rule.
Chris is in Pittsburgh. Go ahead, Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hey there, yeah.
Hi.
Hey. Yeah, I think the only way you salvage it at this point is you got to go out and trade for Fields and then take Marvin Harrison at 103. Okay. I really don't think any of the other free agent wide receivers are going to make big enough splash with this team with a rookie.
Look, I want the quarterback at 3. I don't hate that plan. Don't hate it. Not my number one plan, but I don't hate that plan. If that's your pivot off of Drake May, you don't like Drake May, I don't hate that plan.
I hate that plan.
Mego hates it. Justin Fields, Hollywood Brown, and Marvin Harrison. I'm in. Connor is in Springfield. Go ahead, Connor.
Hey, how's it going? Well, to start off, I'm pretty pissed off about that Calvin Ridley deal. But a couple questions for you, Jones. So T. Higgins is still available. Would you rather Hollywood Brown over T. Higgins?
Well, I don't get why you can't do both. But I'd
rather Higgins.
I would rather Higgins, but Hollywood Brown is just money.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay Higgins the equivalent of like 3 times. So
right. So you're going to have to...
draft capital, pay him now, and then re-sign him and pay him again.
Right. So Hollywood Brown is cheaper than Higgins. It would be a cheaper contract, I have to believe, though I guess I can't prove that till we see what Hollywood Brown signs for. I would have to believe that Hollywood Brown signs for less than T. Higgins, and he won't cost you a second-round pick. So my real answer is go ahead and do both. You can do both. But, yeah, Higgins is a better player. So if that's what he's asking, Higgins is a better player. I just don't want to do this thing that I knew was coming and I predicted earlier in the week because it was so obvious. I don't want to do this thing where we talk about Calvin Ridley. We go Calvin Ridley, Calvin Ridley, Calvin Ridley. Get Calvin Ridley. I want Calvin Ridley. Then you don't get Calvin Ridley, and it's like, well, now it's time to trade for T. Higgins. Like, they didn't sign Calvin Ridley. They wouldn't go an extra couple million on Calvin Ridley. They're going to go all out on T. Higgins and give up a pick? Does that sound like them?
If they had gotten let's say they had made an offer for like $30 million per with 55 guaranteed, and he took Tennessee because he just wanted to be there with the income tax and it's closer to Jacksonville or something like that, then I'd say, yeah, maybe, because it looks like they're committed to getting a wide receiver. They made this giant offer. Look at this. But they didn't. They made an offer that was slightly better than Jacksonville, that was not as good as the Tennessee offer, and when they knew that they had to come up, they decided not to. Or maybe Ridley came to them and said, you get last chance to go up on this. This is my number, and here we go. I don't want to go to New England. I guess that's possible too. But that's not what happened. I mean, you didn't see them put together this crazy offer, and then he took a hometown discount somewhere else. That's not the case.
617-779-7937. Bunch of you waiting on the lines. Rich Keefe and Fitzy come your way at 6. We'll get to more of your phone calls next.